cover this and then we'll quickly recap. So, like I said, when sexual reproduction occurs, we see a different type of cellular division called meiosis that produces these haploid cells, or haploid gametes we call them, so egg and sperm cells that contain half the amount of information. That half the amount of information actually is very variable between every single one of the cells that is produced because of processes such as crossing over and independent assortment. When it comes to fertilization, when those two haploid cells come together, or those two haploid gametes come together, we actually produce a diploid cell again called a zygote, and that is what the origin of what you would have come from, is a zygote, or one cell which has now got a full set of chromosomes again, with a massive amount of genetic variability from mum's side and from your dad's side. So fertilization as a concept will restore the full amount of chromosomes, so 23 pairs in us, and so 46 chromosomes. Now, when I talk about why we look the way we look being so rare, is you've got to think about independent assortment and crossing over can produce up to 8 million different possible combinations, we sort of estimate. And so in each of the daughter cells produced from mum's side to produce the egg cells, and each of the daughter cells produced on dad's side to produce sperm, being about 1 in 8 million, we're now looking at, once they combine together, there's like 64 trillion possible combinations for what you could look like. So we're talking about, on every single gene being what you are, that's 1 in 64 trillion. Like, the chances of that are so small. So you are unique is sort of what I'm saying when I say that. The last part of this is about comparing these two key processes, and I've just summarized that in a pretty good table for you to be able to copy down. Mitosis, we think about diploid cells, so full amount of chromosomal information, and the chromosomes themselves are identical. So the way that they look is, in every single one of the cells, once they are produced, mitosis produces 2 identical daughter cells, and every bit of information, everything on chromosome 1 on mum's side, on the paternal and the maternal side, will look exactly the same as cell 2, the paternal and the maternal side. When we do meiosis, because of crossing over, because of independent assortment, and of course because we do have mutations that can occur, we see that the composition, or the way that those chromosomes look in each of those 4 daughter cells, will look slightly different. So there will be genetic variability that exists there. In mitosis, we produce 2 cells as a byproduct, and again, identical, and we say that that's diploid. They've got all the information. In meiosis, 4 cells. 4 cells with half the amount of information each, and I don't say half in the sense that they're missing stuff. It's just they only have chromosomes 1 to 23, not a double set of that. Where we see both these processes occur, we say that we see mitosis occurring in somatic cells, so anything that is not for sexual reproduction, and meiosis is in gamete cells. So meiosis is a key process that is only for sexual reproduction, all right, whereas every other type of growth, repair, and all the rest of that is mitosis. Do we see any of the following occurring in the comparison between organisms that do asexual reproduction versus sexual reproduction? So asexual being bacteria, sexual being organisms like us. We see all of those reasons for variation occurring in sexual reproduction. When we look at bacteria, the only source of variation can come from mutation, because there's none of that crossing over, independent assortment, and then random fertilization or picking of partners, because it's just basically binary fission. So that leads me to the last point in suggesting that bacteria's variability does not really change as much as us in our offspring. So there's a lot of different mechanisms that allow us to look and be the way that we are and have our variability. Bacteria have one source to drive their evolutionary change. So one source, and that is just mutation. If bacteria didn't mutate, once we were able to rid bacteria, we would be able to get rid of it forever. So that's important for bacteria to have mutation. That's it.